But anyway, before we get into that, Mike, I'm really interested in your background because you have kind of been self proclaimed as somebody who started in kind of harder type music with rock and roll and things like that. And over the course of your career, whether it's your life experiences or where you found yourself at any given moment, your music has kind of taken on more of a toned down effect. I don't know if it's because of the older you got or your life experiences or whatever, but from rock and roll to bluegrass to country to roots to folk, tell us about what that was like going from hard to kind of toned down.
Well, as a kid, everybody wanted to be, guitar player. I'll put it. Everybody wanted to be Clapton and Hendrix and all those folks.
Well, that's where the
Um,
girls were at, Mike, right? That's where the girls were at.
yeah, yeah. So you're playing it, and there was a point where I just got tired. I liked playing it. I was playing cover bands, paying the bills, all that. I got tired of it. So on my own, there's a point where I put away all my electric gear. I said, I'm not the one playing anymore. I need to learn how to get better. And then I picked up Dobro's acoustic guitars, mandolin, and just dove into bluegrass. Not so much that I thought bluegrass for me was the end all music,
Right.
but I really respected the talent that was happening with no other implements going on. So that became a big influence in what I played, and I took a lot of technique out of that and put it back. And slowly, I came back into electric. Um, I think part of what happened is I could respect both, but moving on the boat, there was only so much room for gear.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up with an acoustic guitar in my hand all the time because it would work. Although I carried a little battery amp and an electric guitar with us all the time too. But it was just sort of I don't know, a meld into appreciating that music. And need somebody like the band who does both. There's Levon with playing an amazing mandolin player, plays different than bluegrass players,
Mm-hmm.
and Robbie Robertson is that's like just killing it on the Telecaster. I really was drawn to that sort of merging of the two.
Well, part of it was in our travels to be able to play live. It was going to be a singer songwriter or a duo because that's kind of what we had. We couldn't have a whole band in Antigua,
Yeah.
for
And
example,
so
or.
logistics played a huge role in that as well, just being able to what you could do rather than what you would do, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did. Right.
yeah, and the evolution.
So did that change the songwriting process also?
It it did. It did. Actually, I didn't believe in myself as a writer. I hired and trained the guy that took my place in a band so we could go sailing. And I thought, at that point, music is just a young guy's game, and I was nervous about doing it. But when we sailed from, well, at that particular one was Nova Scotia to the Azores, and we got to the Azores, and I found myself sitting in with Brazilian players, international players that had sailed there. I realized my whole world it just expanded unbelievably more than I thought it could, and really got me psyched. And when you're doing a long distance sail with the two of us in good weather, it's 4 hours on, 4 hours off, 24 hours a day, with not much other stimulus except for the sea and handling the boat and weather and navigation. And it gives your head really some time to start thinking. And for me, that turned into writing. It turned into really realizing I had stuff I wanted to say and trying to figure out how to say it.
Well, it's your career as a musician is a trip in itself, man. Just as a listener, going from one song to the next, I can almost feel the travels, honestly, and where you've been and how you got there. You know?
Well, thanks on that because I try hard to be able to share those experiences.
Yeah, I love
Um,
that. Go ahead. Were you gonna say
y-
something
you know,
else?
yeah, yeah. Well, it comes down for me. It's been a tough one as a career and a good one. I've had publicists that go, well, we don't know where to place you. What are you? The standard method for an agent that says, take your city and build a concentric circle to do it. And I go, my city's sort of in the ocean,
Yep.
and I have people all over the place. It's a difficult thing, but it's a great thing. We can pull into somewhere we've never been, and people know my music.
Right. And I mean, it's, to me as a listener, I feel like it's bad to be in a box as an artist. And I mean, boxes don't float very long, I would imagine, right?
No, they don't. They don't. Unless they're made out of steel or fiberglass, but they don't.
That's right. That's right. So